أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على رسولنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه وسلم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. So, inshallah, let's continue with Surah Al-Mursalat. So the surah was starting with the intro verses, the first 11 verses. So I'm now reading the translation really quick. Consider these sent forth one after another, then violently storming, spreading far and wide, thus separating with clarity, and thus giving forth a reminder, ending excuses, and given warnings. So the main theme of the surah will keep repeating around this mursalat, those that are sent. And we talked about what those that are sent mean, because it reminds us of Rasul, it reminds us of messengers and the messages that keep coming to us again and again. After this intro, then the theme of the surah reminds us of my responsibility. So surely that which you are promised will happen. When the stars are put out, when the sky is torn apart, when the mountains are blown away, and when the messengers are brought unto their time appointed. So, for what day are these postponed? So let's talk about the general theme, and then maybe we can conclude the surah today, because it's going to keep repeating or keep bringing a lot of examples. So the first part was reminding me of the messages and the messengers that keeps coming. The second part talked about the promised day will come, or that which you are promised will come. And then mentioned a scene where stars are blown away, mountains are blown away, stars are put off. And then the messengers will be bring to some appointed time. This was an important message there. لِأَيِّ يَوْمٍ أُجِّلَتْ. For what day are these postponed? So let's think about it. Pause here for a second. Messengers are coming to me, keeps coming to me, and I just keep postponing to take them seriously. And now the verse is making me question myself. For how long are you going to keep postponing those messages, or keep ignoring these messages? لِيَوْمِ الْفَصْلِ. You will keep postponing them. There will happen a day of decision. And then it says, وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا يَوْمُ الْفَصْلِ. And what will convey unto you what the day of decision is. And then comes the verse, وَيْلُ يَوْمِئِذٍ لِلْمُكَذِّبِينَ. How horrible is that day for the deniers of truth. So I should be pausing and asking myself in life, how serious do I take the messengers in my life, in general, in specific events happening in my life? How much do I pay attention to them, or I simply live the life for enjoying the moment, or ignoring the whatever is happening, just save the day? Like this way of living life, as if, not trying to make any sense of life at all, putting everything forward. So لِيَوْمِ الْفَصْلِ. We are going to see this day of decision again in this verse, in the surah. So this is at the very heart of the surah now, day of decision. Now I'm asking to myself, in my life, did I make sense of those messages? Did I, because the day of Yawm al-Fasl should be a separator of right from wrong for myself. So this Yawmul Fasl should be a day where right is going to be separated from wrong for myself. So thinking about my life, do I have such separating moments? If not, Quran is reminding me of then what sort of a life am I living without making sense of this life, this existence? Then we read these verses last week. Alam nuhlik al-awwalin, did we not destroy the former people, former folk? ثم نتبعهم الآخرين, then cause the latter folk to follow after. كذلك نفعل بالمجرمين, thus we deal with the guilty ones or the ones that cause trouble. ويل يومئذ للمكذبين, how horrible is that day for the deniers of truth. So in these verses, there's this emphasis of destruction. So who gets destroyed? What gets destroyed in this existence? As we were discussing this last time, like for instance, if you have any beloved one, or let me ask a question more directly. Prophet Muhammad والسلام, has passed away. Is he destroyed? Because his physical body is not functioning anymore, like he passed away. This body is not functioning as it used to function at some point. So in this regard, would we consider as like Prophet ﷺ destroyed, for example? Because it doesn't matter as long as you die. Like it's the end of your life. If you are killed with a blast, or if you are killed with, I don't know, in your sleep, like you die, you do not exist anymore. So this destruction, to whom does this destruction apply? Because it's reminding me of أَلَمْ نُهْلِكِ الْأَوَّلِينَ ثُمَّ نُتْبِعُهُمُ الْآخِرِينَ كَذَلِكَ نَفْعَلُ بِالْمُجْرِمِينَ. So this is how we treat the wrongdoers. So let's take mujrimin as wrongdoers here. Because it's a reminder, a threat to me, if I consider myself, or what do I consider destructible in me as a human being? We generally tend to take, like my physical body can get destroyed. My health can get destroyed if I take it as such. Or let's go again with this example in there. This paper and ink that's written over there can get destroyed. But the meaning of the text in there is indestructible. Like once you read and understand it, you cannot destroy it. But if I'm a person that pays attention to the qualities of ink and paper in there, my world will get destroyed if this piece of art gets burnt. But if I pay attention to the meaning in there, once I read it and understand it, even if the paper gets burned, nothing gets destroyed. So here, this surah was talking about messengers that keeps coming one after another. And the life is full with such messages and messengers. If I do not take them as messengers, and I simply take them as like things themselves, to me, they will simply get destroyed. Like everything that enters my life will exit my life, and they will just leave regret in my life. So my creator is saying that did we not destroy that come before, that come after? If you are living your life as such, everything that comes into your life brings nothing but destruction. Would you like to live such a life? And this is why right after this, وَيْلُ يَوْمِئِذٍ لِلْمُكَذِّبِينَ, as long as you deny, you keep denying them as messengers, you cover up this truth, denying the messengers as messengers, but no, it's just, let's say, a beautiful breeze, or it is a beautiful sunrise. It's a cute baby. Like if this is a cute baby, cuteness will be destroyed. It's a beautiful sunrise, sun will set. If it's your youth that you're enjoying, it will depart. All of these are going to get destroyed if you keep denying that they are messengers, or if you give lie to them as messengers, then that day is going to be a horrible day. Now that the verse keeps saying how horrible is that day for the deniers, living a life as such is going to fill up your life with full of destruction. But if you were to see them as messengers, then I would pay attention to what the message is like. But if the messenger comes, drops me the message, I got the message, and then the messenger leaves. So then it's not destroyed anymore for me. Because the point was that it's a temporary messenger, brings me the message and leaves, but now the connection between me and the sender of the message stays alive. So, and as this is a repeating pattern within the surah, I will try to connect everything to this messages and messengers, and how denying them is going to make life miserable for me. Come to the next part and pause me if you have any questions or comments. أَلَمْ نَخْلُقكُم مِّن مَّاءٍ مَّهِينٍ. Did we not create you from a base fluid? فَجَعَلْنَاهُ فِي قَرَارٍ مَّكِينٍ, which we laid up in a safe abode. إِلَى قَدَرٍ مَّعْلُومٍ, for a known term. فَقَدَرْنَا فَنِعْمَ الْقَادِرُونَ. Thus we determined. How excellent is our determining. وَيْلٌ يَوْمَئِذٍ لِلْمُكَذِّبِينَ. How horrible is that day for the deniers of truth. So let's now read this as another message then. So have we not created you from a base fluid? Because like people want to be taken serious and important. Like we want to be appreciated. We want to leave a mark on this planet and whatnot. But my creator is saying that, look where I started you from a very base fluid, something that's like disgusting or nothing special. Not only not special, but something that's like thrown away, something very lowly. This is where you started from, or this is how I make you start from. So, which then here is saying that the way you were raised up is a message for you. So pay attention to that. Then in the, if now that I'm paying attention to how I am made, I was put in my mother's womb in a safe abode, a secure place. And I stayed there for a temporary term. So like any message, I was taken away from there as well. Nothing is staying forever in there. فَقَدَرْنَا فَنِعْمَ الْقَادِرُونَ. But everything was happening within an order, with a determination. Nothing was random, nothing was haphazard. So do I not see any of these, that I am being taken over from stage to another stage, and this is there to give me some message. And what is the message? فَقَدَرْنَا فَنِعْمَ الْقَادِرُونَ. Do you not see that how perfectly we are determining? Like if we were to get into a, I don't know, like let's say we had this retreat almost 2 weeks ago. So you attend some sort of a retreat and you see things are very well organized. At the end of the day, what do you say? So like food were well organized, event was very well organized, presentations were nice and whatnot. So at the end, this is what we say. We say that, oh, actually, the way things were laid up were showing that you really planned, everything in order. So seeing all these is to arrive to this conclusion. But if I insist, no, it's not. It was just me being lucky. It was chance. Then I will find myself living a life either of chance or I don't know how else I would explain my life. So much insecurity. So what is the cost of not seeing all these as messengers and messengers is being a denier of truth in this case is going to make me live in this random world. Huda, come here, Huda. Okay. So now let's start with these verses. أَلَمْ نَجْعَلِ الْأَرْضَ كِفَاتًا. Have we not made the earth a receptacle? أَحْيَاءً وَأَمْوَاتًا. Both for the living and the dead. وَجَعَلْنَا فِيهَا رَوَاسِيَ شَامِخَاتٍ وَأَسْقَيْنَاكُمْ مَاءً فُرَاتًا. And placed therein high mountains and given you to drink sweet water therein. وَيْلُ يَوْمِئِذٍ لِلْمُكَذِّبِينَ. How horrible is that day for the deniers of truth. So, along with the same pace, of the surah, so earth is being presented to me as a receptacle, something that I take for granted. There are living beings, there's death in there. But among all these, there are those heavy mountains, but I am given very soft, sweet water from it. So, what does this scenery tell me? Is this, because this is something that we tend to take as random or by chance. Where is the message and the messenger in here, for example? When your creator comes and tells you, did we not give earth as a receptacle for you? And we brought water, sweet water from those mountains, or given you water, which comes from mountains most of the time. Sweet water comes from mountains after being, filtered from there. So what does this tell you? Any ideas? Do you see any message in sweet waters being given, gushing forth from mountains, for instance? Anything that's message worthy in there? What do you think? Yeah.
It makes me think of like merciful sustenance.
Because the way, if you pay attention, how have you ever seen any water source that water is just coming out of the rock? Have you ever seen it? So my hometown had a like it was being watered from not from a river, but from what do they say? Kainaksuyu, like spring water. Yeah. So the water was literally coming out of the rock. And like it sounds very interesting and bizarre. Like from mountain, a river is just gushing forth from a cave of a mountain. So like if you go to department to get sweet water, you have this water filter in there. So even the tap is miraculous, one could say, because water is brought all the way to 10th floor, 11th floor. But it's not good water. So we need to put further, water filter to get sweet water. So the sweet water that we are drinking is now coming out of a rock. And We take this to be by chance, whereas the sweet water that I drink at 11th floor of a building, I say, oh yeah, a lot of infrastructure is required to bring water there. So what makes me think that one is by chance and the other one is by somebody following the purpose in there? Because Surah in the previous verses was mentioning how we were made. Don't you see how we determine? Do I see that the water being provided to me from mountains is coming with a determination? Somebody takes the water, stores it in mountain reservoirs, filters it out, and gives it to me as sweet, fresh water, because I'm in need of that. So seeing this as a message versus seeing it as a chance, I think this is where the distinction is happening. If I see this as chance, I will see finding a job opportunity from somewhere equally as chance, because it just comes from within, let's say, the domain of a lot of social networks or job networks and whatnot. There will always be a job, and you happen to be there in the right moment, so you found the job. Like they were going to make the offer, and you ended up being there, so you got the job. Or is it that I was given this job opportunity by my creator? Is this a message to me from my maker, or is it just chance? Is that addressing me? If I see it as mere chance, it happened to be like this, and I live my life by chance in this case. انطلقوا إلى ما كنتم به تكذبون انطلقوا إلى ظل ذي 3 شعاب لا ظليل ولا يغني من اللهب إنها ترمي بشرر كالقصر كأنه جمالة صفر ويل يومئذ للمكذبين. So then, yes.
About the previous part. The last ayah, how horrible is that they would deny of the truth. What there in previous was as well, talking about certain order, the meaning in life, the purpose.
Yeah, message.
And then says how horrible is that they for deny of the truth. As if, like if you don't take things as an orderly creation pointing to something, then you take them as pointless. That's the eventual. That's the eventual, destination you will arrive. Everything is pointless. And ayah is almost like these 3 ayahs at the previous, making this comparison. On one hand, you will look at the earth as a receptacle, mountains as the source of the water. Or on the other hand, you will say earth, nothing but just dust in the vast cosmos, doesn't have any point, like meaning. Or the mountains the same, and so on. And this is your torture. This is your the jaza, punishment, seeing the life as it is, as a pointless thing.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Because it's going to, the meaninglessness is going to be my torture. Insecurity is going to be my torture. I will find myself in a world in which there's no meaning to pursue. And I mean, is it that important? Yes, it is important. Like without meaning, without purpose, every day becomes the same. And if I take getting joys as purpose of my life, then the transitoriness of this joy is bringing more pain than the joy. So every new day becomes a torture pretty much. But if I take, because everything that gets into my life as they leave, since they're messengers, if I take them as the thing themselves, not as bringing messages from another one, then everybody with the new thing that they introduce, it's newness. Like if every day of your life is the same, you get bored. But if you are getting a new toy to play every day, for example, it's a good thing because you're getting something new. We are fond of new things. We would like to see new stuff. This is why we like change. And verse, since the beginning, was saying that we send you new things, new messengers each and every day. But if I take them as not messengers, but things themselves, the joy that they bring is going to stay very minimal compared to the pain that they leave behind once they depart.
Even if you can, like, the question is whether you can follow that journey. I will get some, like almost with no exception, this famous so-called thinkers in the 80s, when they write a book, no matter from what perspective they approach, like some of them approach from a biologist perspective, another one mathematics and so on and so forth. Somehow proving there is no God, there is no whatever divine.
Don't you read any good book? I mean, you always read this.
That's a good thing to me. And one thing, almost no exception, the final chapters are always dedicated for the question, not the question, but the assertion that, yeah, there is no meaning in the universe. The universe is pointless. And then copying these existential philosophers and so on. Yes, but we can create our own purpose. Just random gathering. That's the only part, I guess, in the universe that is real randomness, where you put these words randomly together. Joy, order, and recreate, and so on. So it's like, you have this set of pencils, but no paper for coloring, and no child to color. And you're trying to say that, oh, no, it still has its own beauty. Look at the universe, it has its elegance. We can create our meaning. Look, let's call this yellow, let's call this orange. Now we put them together, let's call it two pencils, and then make a house out of it. Not painting, just making from the sticks for online parts. From the sticks. They are colorful sticks, they are not even pencils, right? Just making up these things and believe that it will give you joy. It will never happen. Mm-hmm. So there was this movie, the old one, which depicts the hell as like you can buy things, constantly buying things, decorating your home, changing your home, making all these adjustments and so on and so forth. But there is no this intrinsic joy in anything. There's no point in anything, right? There's no children as well, so no new generation, no reproduction, and so on. This is the hell. And this is the hell that we see the universe as. Yeah. I'm just trying to make up some meanings.
To me, this sounds very much like Instagram or Twitter, honestly.
Yeah.
Because, this is how I'm feeling about it. Let's say I get bored, I get tired at work, so I find myself just trying to Google something random so that it's going to just distract me for a few seconds. No purpose. Just I am looking for some sort of distraction. No satisfaction in this distraction either. But I mean, to me, really, this description, as you were talking about hell, is pretty much what Instagram is offering me. Just a momentary distraction. I know I will not remember what I'm looking at 5 seconds later, but just momentarily I land on something and then go to the next one, go to the next one. At the end, I will never remember whatever I landed
There
on.
is no connection between anything.
No.
Yeah. You cannot make them together and get something bigger. They will not support each other.
They do not stay with me. So it is like, as Quran is describing hell. So you drink, but you do not get satiated. Like there's this, what's it? I don't know the proper translation for that word, but some dirty drink that you drink, but it's not satiating you. You drink it for satiation, but you don't get satiated. So this is pretty much like Instagram is a picture of it in our lives, but generalize it. Whatever you have in this life, Instagram is a micro example of transitoriness of any worldly joy here. So as long as I'm not going to take anything in life as messenger, they will become that transitory thing which gets destroyed, as the previous verse was mentioning. They will not destroy the ones before and after. Everything gets destroyed. So messenger, if it's not a messenger for you, it's just a thing that gets destroyed. So this is why seeing this existence as full of messengers is an important part. If I don't see it as full of messengers, if I do not see that the water that comes to me as a sweet drinking water is being sent to me, like the word is interesting in here, we placed mountains, we placed drinking water to you from there. Like explicitly saying that, and these are the things that we take for granted. It's just random, like water. What is the idea with water? I mean, it fell from sky. Of course, it cannot stay forever under the earth because there are different layers of rock. Of course, it will come out from somewhere. And wherever it comes out from, we make our cities in there. This is how we benefit from it. It's not that God is sending us water. We go near water. Like, I mean, this is our perception. So we don't see it as sweet water is being given to me. And practically, this is why with, let's say, job or whatever opportunities we have in life, we just say, well, it was meant to be there. It was going to be there. If not me, somebody else was going to get the job. I was lucky or I was opportunist and I found the job. So why shall I be thankful? Since it's not even, then it's not a message or messenger. Then even if I get the job, it's not going to give me security. I would say, I was lucky this time, but how about next time? Even finding source will give me insecurity, not security. So here is an interesting depiction here. Proceed unto that which you used to deny. Proceed unto the shadow that rises in 3 columns. Nor relief nor shelter from the flame. Indeed, it throws up sparks like castles, as it might be robes of bright yellow hue. How horrible is that day for the deniers of truth. It's an interesting depiction, just a few notes for just some linguistic detail. I don't know how much it would be important. So, إِنَّهَا تَرْمِي بِشَرَرٍ كَالْقَصْرِ. Indeed, they throw up sparks like that of castles, كَالْقَصْرِ. So, there were different translations for this qasr here. One of the translators, I mean, most of them were translating as at castles. One of them was saying that due to the flow, it shouldn't really be castle, but it should be like
What?
Like depiction. It's depicting the like fire throwing like castles as just a little bit of an awkward depiction. And even in the second part, كأنه جمالة صفر. Majority of translations I looked at was translating Jimala in here as camels. So the same translator was saying that, look, camels, yellow like camels doesn't make too much of a sense either. So the interesting translation that I saw was referring to another verse in Quran about Jamal that is used as rope. And the way that this verse is mentioned is it says as the rope, it is hard to make the rope to pass through the eye of a needle. There's this phrase being used in Quran for hardness of something. It says it is as hard as a rope passing through the eye of a needle.
Rope being like a thick
rope, yeah, a thick rope that is used to tie giant ships. So, and this translator was saying that كأنه جمالة صفر in here should be in the same sense like ropes, and referring to as a fire, as a rope yoked around you and has this yellow color. So the color of rope is like fire is being depicted as it surrounds you, but like a rope. So this sort of yeah. So he is saying that this sort of an imagery is being mentioned in here. And accordingly,
Gandalf, I think, you shall not pass.
Yes. And accordingly, Bisharat and Kalqasr in there, he was referring to like giants, like rock-like structures. Anyways, this is a linguistic detail. But what is our take? Proceed on to that which you used to deny. What was it that I was denying? There's no message, meaning there's no meaning. If there's no messenger, then there's no message, then there's no meaning at all. This is what it is. So I am now being invited into this meaninglessness, or the outcome of this meaninglessness. And it further mentions, okay, and it further mentions, proceed on to the shadow rises in 3 columns. There's no shelter, no relief from this flame. If there is no comment about this, I'll just put a few words in here. Huda is too cranky today. So in this, so the way I understand this is then inviting me to live in this flame or the fire of this meaninglessness, inviting me to face that reality. So I should consider this for myself. As people, we are trying to find or make up, as Brother Birkan was saying, meaning in our lives. This verse is inviting me to my reality. Okay, if you are living a life without meaning, if you are just trying to chase the day, chase your career goals, chase your day-to-day joys, face the fire that it brings you. And it's not going to give you any satisfaction, but it will keep burning you. That is the truth that you will live in. هذا يوم لا ينطقون. This is a day wherein they speak not. ولا يؤذن لهم فيعتذرون. Nor are they allowed to put forth any excuses. ويل يومئذ للمكذبين. How horrible is that day for the deniers of truth. هذا يوم الفصل. This is the day of decision. جَمَعْنَاكُمْ وَالْأَوَّلِينَ, we have brought you and the ones that came before. فَإِنْ كَانَ لَكُمْ كَيْدٌ فَيَكِيدُونَ, if now you have any wits, outwit me. وَيْلُ يَوْمِئِذٍ لِلْمُكَذِّبِينَ, how horrible is that day for the deniers of truth. So, anything you would like to add among these verses? يوم الفصل.
If now you have any good art with me, what is good?
Trick.
Oh,
So, then in the sense that we have been discussing, how can one entertain such a life becomes a question. Like as I keep reading this, okay, the creator says this day is so horrible for you, meaningless, is going to kill you and whatnot. I mean, people do live life. We do live lives as if without meaning, like purposeless lives. And it looks like, what's it? Committing suicide rate is not that high either. Like the fire burning and everything, looks like life is still livable. How do we do that? Is it that we are coming up with tricks, trying to outwit the creator, like creator in this case, meaning that, actually I was thinking about how people are becoming enemies of God because of things going wrong. Let's say a war is happening, or my health is not going well. I mean, I was worried about, as I was hearing about the news of the war, I was saying that, oh, what would happen to those kids? They will grow up questioning existence of God. Then I asked myself, why is this the case? Because this is how it happened in Europe. After Second World War, atheism increased quite a bit because now two world wars are experienced, and people are even in Christian theology, they say there's this concept of silence of God. People were saying that, okay, we prayed for God and he didn't respond, so God doesn't exist, sort of a thing. So animosity towards God is developed based on things not going as I wanted them to go, which is interesting because to take revenge from the creator, denying the creator is being used as a weapon in a sense. Like if God doesn't exist, then chill out, man. Like, why are you just being an enemy of something that doesn't exist? But so the perception is more so that I want things in my terms, and if it doesn't happen in my terms, then no. So in this case, for whatever reason, which maybe we can discuss this too, but I don't want to consider this existence as constant messages coming to me. And to be able to survive without paying attention to those messengers, because there's a lot of guilt in there. If somebody keeps constantly sending you a message, and as long as I keep ignoring it, like the teacher constantly says, pay attention, this is assignment 1, this is assignment 2, you need to be careful with your courses, you need to learn, I'm going to ask about this. If I keep postponing these questions, how can I keep enjoying myself? Like any student, especially like a gamer student who doesn't pay attention to classes and whatnot, maybe first year they might have a fun time and whatnot, but second year, third year, as now the parents will keep asking, how is your classes going? Or the friends start graduating, or they find good co-ops, but you cannot. Like as these keep happening, it will start growing upon this student that things are not going well. Now, as if the creator is saying that, okay, bring your tricks if you can trick me. I am following over you. This life is being meant to give you a message, and I am determined to disturb you, as if the maker is saying that I am determined to not you feel comfortable in this life.
In your tricks.
In your tricks. I mean, if you keep denying those messengers, don't think that you will get away with it. And we cannot. Like practically, this is a very true statement, actually. By pretending that there's no purpose in life, am I able to find this satisfaction and solace that I am seeking for? Not at all. That's why this challenge makes perfect sense. Okay, bring it. If you really think that you can outwit me or trick me and get satisfaction, put it forth. This is the day of distinction or day of decision, Yawmul Fasl. It was mentioning this before. So now, in my life, I need to come to that distinction moment, saying that, Yusuf, what do you expect in this life? So what do you expect in this life? Do you really want to live days? Do you really want to live your life just enjoying the moment? I mean, cute baby, how cute baby. But would you really like to enjoy the moment of the cuteness of this baby? Or would you like to pause and say, what does the maker of this baby want to tell me? So why is she cute now? Why is she going to cry next moment? Like, what am I supposed to take out of this? Because it might happen that I don't pay attention to this at all time to time. I just say, well, like, this baby is my halal baby. Like, it's not like I stole the kid or it's like got in the wrong way. It's halal baby. But do I really take the baby as a messenger, or do I deny the message aspect of the baby, yet being a believer, I live a life as if it is my child, not a messenger to me from my creator? Because it then becomes a torture in my life to satisfy them or to put them in the shape that I want them to be. I get into super hard burdens that I cannot carry. إِنَّ الْمُتَّقِينَ فِي ظِلَالٍ وَعُيُونٍ. Now the other side of the coin is being mentioned. Indeed, those who are muttaqeen, God conscious, are amid shade and fountains. وَفَوَاكِهَ مِمَّا يَشْتَهُونَ, and fruits such as they desire. كُلُوا وَاشْرَبُوا هَنِيئًا بِمَا كُنْتُمْ تَعْمَلُونَ. Eat, drink, and welcome, O you blessed, in return for what you did. إِنَّا كَذَلْكَ نَجْزِي الْمُحْسِنِينَ. This is how we reward, indeed, this is how we reward the muhsinin, the good. وَيْلٌ يَوْمَئِذٍ لِلْمُكَذِّبِينَ. How horrible is that day for the deniers of truth. So for God conscious, having shades and fountains and fruits of whatever they desire, what does this remind you?
The ideal good. I just realized it maybe. I just completely
Today, kids are being a little too big of a messenger, and we are having a hard time realizing their messages. Okay.
So it's a depiction of heaven. But again, coming back to things being pointless, meaningless, you can also like I mention it as not having any fruit. Whatever you do is for nothing. Your life, your tree is dried up. It does not produce any fruit. The outcome is not there. Even if it yields something, it's not fruit, it's not something that you can enjoy, eat. Just things happen. The same way the shade and fountains, it's as if saying, feeling in secure location, like a security, right? Free of disturbance. And the fountains, something is feeding you constantly. It's like the creative process that is being described. Life is a creative thing, lively thing that you feel secure and producing fruits, versus dark, pointless, meaningless, and fruitless life.
And then there's this other side, كُلُوا وَتَمَتَّعُوا قَلِيلًا إِنَّكُمْ مُجْرِمُونَ. For the denier that turns back and says, eat and take your ease a little. Indeed, you are guilty. وَيْلٌ يَوْمَئِذٍ لِلْمُكَذِّبِينَ. How horrible is that day for the deniers of truth. So this eating and satisfaction was as if all over the place. They were in the shade and they were at the fountains, or uyun in this case is like the uyun comes from the word eye, ayn. So, and ayn is the source. It is the source. So they are at the source. The muttaqin is at the source. So this is why they never feel lack of anything. They're at the source. Like if you were at some later point, then you can get worried that what if the source gets blocked or something. But if you're at the source of a river, there's no worry for you. If you're after a dam or something, what if they block the water and it doesn't come to me? You can worry about such a thing. But for muttaqin, then there is no such worry. It's being at the source. So if I can live the life in a sense that I am always living in the presence of my maker. Everything that are being provided to me, I am knowing that it's immediately my maker speaking to me. This is a message bearer of my maker. Then I am simply at his banquet 24/7. The life itself becomes like a banquet, and I am a guest of honor, like Hani, and so you're welcome. I am welcomed in this banquet, and the whole existence becomes this banquet. And it's given to me, bima kuntum ta'malun. This is interesting. In return for what you did. Why is that important? Because this makes the messengers part of a conversation now. It says, I gave it to you because of what you did. Like since the beginning, it was saying that I keep sending you messengers, but now it is mentioning at a point for the God conscious. Once you reach this consciousness, then you will realize whatever is being given to you is given to you as a response. So my creator is now having a conversation with me. So the existence becomes, or the life, the experience that I go through becomes a conversation between me and my creator. That's what we were referring to during the retreat in terms of supplication, dua as well. To see supplication as a conversation between me and my creator. So the life becomes this conversation now. Like in the discussion in the retreat, we were talking about my supplication being asking from my creator and my consciousness of him being his response. But now take this as events in life is a message of my creator to me. And every new message is a response to my previous response back to him. So this back and forth conversation, life becomes this conversation then. But when it comes to the mujrimun, like the guilty ones, the creator says, فَتَمَتَّعُوا قَلِيلًا وَتَمَتَّعُوا قَلِيلًا. So eat and take your ease a little. إِنَّكُمْ مُجْرِمُونَ. Indeed, you are guilty. And then وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُمُ ارْكَعُوا لَا يَرْكَعُونَ. When it is said unto them, bow down, they bow not down. So this denial is there. وَيْلُ يَوْمِئِذٍ لِلْمُكَذِّبِينَ. How horrible is that day for the deniers of truth. I think with this last statement, it is highlighting what is wrong with this attitude that it's not being taken as messengers. Like, why would you put yourself in such a tough position then? Because since the beginning, it was mentioning that how horrible is that day? How horrible is that day? But I think the verse 48 might be giving me the reason why would I put myself in such a position. I am commanded to bow down and I choose not to. Like the reason that one wouldn't take messenger as a messenger is because I don't want to bow down. I want to say that I am independent.
So we keep saying, without realizing your obvious, that you are being a slave, worshiper, you cannot appreciate the wrong. The moment, like as long as you think you don't need to bow down, you have everything, you are self-sufficient, and so on and so forth. You have to read this universe as something pointless.
So, like, let's think about it. Now we are having a discussion. Let's assume Brother Bikhan says, I know everything. And from this discussion, there's nothing that I will take. I have I have my own, I make up my own meaning. Like this is the worldview, right? We are in. So then coming into this discussion, if I do not bow down saying that I do not know certain things or I do not know nothing, I wouldn't get anything out of here. Discussion wouldn't be a messenger for you in this case. And this is how we are doing with life. I come to this life and I say, well, I mean, I make up my own purpose. I make up my own meaning in this life. There's no message to me. Since I do not bow down to the fact that I am needy or the fact that I do not know, I need guidance, then I do not take things as messengers. So the crux of my problem then is that when they are commanded, they do not bow down. So I should ask the question, am I being commanded to bow down? Do I hear this command of irka'u?
So bowing down, to be like open it up a little bit, but you have bow down sound as if it's literally bow down, accept the authority of something. Or should we take it instead, realizing that you don't have any authority in anything, including your own ideas, your own feelings, nothing about you, you have any authority. You are weak, you are poor, you don't have any power. realizing that, moving down.
Mm. Yeah. So then in my life, I then need to question, am I being commanded to bow down? And I guess even if when I do not pay attention, I come to a point where events happen one after another. And at that moment, I say that, like I just lift my hands and say that, okay, I give up. I'm not able to handle this. People come to this realization at certain points in their lives, but this is where, as I'm not able to lift the burdens that I'm under, then I say, okay, yes, I bow down before you. And as I mentioned before, one person that we worked before, that person said that up to some point, let me use proper pronouns so that you don't notice who that person is. So they had so many hardship in life, like a divorce and hardships in life. So life was a hell. And then at that point, that person became like a atheist. But once things settled, that person said, after 2-3 years, I said, well, okay, I mean, I cannot deny it. There must exist a superpower. But now it was more like, okay, you give it to me. I know I cannot overpower you, but I will deal with it. I will deal with it. Like that person was using some foul language, so I am avoiding to use this language. But okay, give it to me.
Give the hardship.
Give the hardship. Like, okay, I cannot push back to you. You're like, I declare my impotence before you.
Just like I declare.
Yeah. But it's not a friendshiply good terms. It is like saying, like grinding my teeth. I accept the defeat, but what else can I do? Like this sort of. Yeah. So sooner or later in life, sometimes deliberately so, we are being asked to bow down. Actually, at every moment I am being asked to bow down, but my ego sometimes feels like, oh, you know what, I can figure it out. But as this realization happens at the utmost level, how horrible is that day for the deniers of truth? And finally, the surah concludes by saying, فَبِأَيِّ حَدِيثٍ بَعْدَهُ يُؤْمِنُونَ. In what statement after this will they believe?
That's really what statement after this will they believe. And they have it's probably more common connotation in which the ayahs proving something and so on. But also, it's kind of suggests like when you lose the sense of hakika in like the truth in life, how can you mention truth in anything? Like in what sentence that you articulate in what what's it called? It doesn't matter, let's say a sentence. In what sentence that you hear, you can say true or not. How can you believe in anything?
So if this very central thing about your life is not making you move, is not bringing meaning in your life, then what else is going to?
Nothing. Yeah. Among these bad books that you mentioned, there's a really interesting saying. I cannot remember word by word, but any finite thing loses its meaning without a reference to an infinite. And since there is no infinite, there is no meaning. So when you get rid of the universe as a speech coming from the infinite, the absolute, nothing in the universe, not a single thing in the universe can mean anything almost.
Jazakallah khairan. So, yeah, Zoom is saying, are you playing music? So it thought that was the music. Okay, let's conclude here, inshallah. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana innaka antal alimul hakim. Wa akhiru da'wahum alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Al-Fatiha.